There we go. Bye, everybody. Say something, B.
What's up, Sekou Rights?
Hey. Hey, folks.
What's up, y'all?
Welcome to the Get Rich 101 / Fiance File / I don't know.
/ we looking and feeling rich in New York City.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I feel rich.
So fiance, my fiance got us to put to get up on these stools so they can see me in the background. Can you see that? Can you see that that's me? That's me before I cut my locks off. That's me.
Before you went gray, say that's me.
That's me.
My friend Bobby saw me do my live show with you in the background. He's like, Fee, that looks like me.
What?
Yes, because Bobby still has long locks.
Really?
Yeah.
Trying to steal my joy, man. Trying to steal my joy because this is my photo. So real quick, now that we're honest, so this painting was done by a woman who lived in Philly, and I went there to do a book signing for When Butterflies Kiss.
And for who? Slow down.
When Butterflies Kiss.
Okay.
My first book. And so she took a photo of me. And I was like, all right. She said she wanted to take a photo of me. She took a photo of me. And one of years went by before I heard from her. And she was like, oh, I'd like to invite you to this exhibit. And I was like, all right, well, maybe she did something of me. Maybe this is some tiny little thing. And then when I walked into the theater, into the space, I was like, whoa, because this was right there. This was right at the entry level. Like right when you open the door, I was like, yo! And two people were looking at it. We heard me react. And they were like, what? Oh. And I was like, yeah. Two complete strangers. And I was like, wow, I gotta have this, man. I gotta have this. And so I bought it. And so I made sure I got it.
What a great way for an artist to also make a sale. Like that was right. That was ingenious marketing.
Yeah, because a lot of people did not get their own art. Like they just came and saw it and let it go. And I got into a kind of beef with somebody because he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna buy this." I was like, "You're gonna buy me and take it home?" He was like, "Yeah." Gosh. He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh no." So then I talked about, okay, let me how much I gotta pay for me?
How much I gotta pay for me?
Yeah, because I was like, I don't know about him having the original. Because this is the original. This is one of one, the original artwork. So that means it costs more and you can't reproduce it. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to get that.
You could reproduce it.
Yeah, I could reproduce it with
her permission.
Her permission, yeah.
Like maybe NFTs.
Yeah, maybe NFTs. Yeah,
you never know what you have sitting in your home that you can monetize. Yeah, because you could do NFT prints.
NFT prints, yeah,
with your book.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, that's good.
I would like to. I'd like to get into something.
Okay, let's get into something. Let's get into something.
All right. So I don't want to take for granted that people know who Sekou and Fee King are, right? Firstly, human beings, children of God. However, when you see Sekou Rights, and if you see me with him or helping him with his show, because I am his producer, non-producer, I just kind of step in and do things. Sekou suffered from a stroke, July 14th, 2022. And if you're anything like me, I've never met a person who's had a stroke, to the best of my knowledge. I'm sure I have, but I've never engaged, been involved with, been a part of the daily living of someone who's survived a stroke. When you hear me say to him, slow down, it's because his speech, his memory, and his cognitive functions have been greatly affected by the stroke. And so sometimes he'll say something that in the past, when he said it really fast, like I'm talking really fast right now, you can still fully understand me. And then, but with him, there are places in his speech pattern that are a little delayed, and he'll drop a gem or a jewel, and I don't want people to miss it. And you'll hear me say, slow down or repeat that. So just know that. And I guess this is for you to be reminded that I'm not being bossy fee. I'm just helping you to be mindful of those moments where the aphasia, it's called aphasia, that's kicking in.
Yeah. Yes. Because I had an interview last night.
Podcast.
So shout out to the podcast family. Shout out to them.
Black Men Run.
Black Men
right?
Run. Black Men Run. They interviewed me. They haven't dropped it yet. When they drop it, I'll let you know. But I did the podcast last night, and I kept remembering. I kept trying to remember, like, slow down, because I knew they were asking me questions about things that I haven't spoken about recently, and then I got excited talking about them. So I was talking about how it was when I originally got the stroke, the day that it was, the things that happened that day, and all the things that happened that day, and then I started talking fast, and I lost the details. I had to kind of come back and space them out a little bit. So as you can tell, right now I'm spacing them out. And so I'm trying with great difficulty to maintain my speech as slow, because I've seen my videos, because Reverend Mel keeps showing these videos of me where I used to pop on her show. At the end of her show, I used to pop on, and I'd have so many things to say. I'd be saying it fast with it.
And nothing has changed.
What? And I feel myself reaching for that old Sekou, and I think there's some competition in my head about me now versus me then, and so I just gotta really release. I've got to really release it, and let this be the new way of communicating. Let my speech be my slow speech be my new way of communicating.
I think, you know what, Sekou, when you said that, I found myself reaching back and competing with my old self. My new self is competing with my old self. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, because oftentimes, instead of accepting where we are without being complacent, those are two very different things. Accepting where you are, knowing that your goal is to move forward and you're in action. But if you keep looking back, there's a Buddhist saying, there's actually a book titled Looking Back in Your Rearview Mirror. So in this Buddhism philosophy, the writer talks about, if you're constantly in your rearview mirror, then you're missing what's happening right now, because you keep looking back. And so if you're looking back in that rearview mirror, you can't see what's ahead of you. Yeah. You can't see what's happening right in front of you right now. Right. And so, because when Rev Melissa played that video, I was watching, and I thought, I know that this is going to affect him. And I think it's supremely important to appreciate who you were, but appreciate how far you've come and where you are right now. And you get to almost reinvent yourself. You know, you get to figure out this new speech pattern where you do slow it down. And then there are moments where you're in your zone and you can speed it up. But I think the goal is to figure out what works for you. Figure out what works for you. As a writer and a speaker, though, as a writer, he's a writer and a speaker, those words are supremely important. And that's why I want to help you and just remind you to get them out, because you drop gems and jewels in your stock class, in his Forex class, on his show, Get Rich 101. And then you just dropped. So listen, I think sometimes we take for granted. And I learned this, that someone said to me, Fee, you ought to be telling people what you do and who you are every day, all day long. And so Sekou just dropped that he wrote a book, and he was like, you know, butterfly. I was like, what? First of all, not everyone knows that you're a
Yeah,
writer.
you're right.
So he has this incredibly sexy and erotic book that he wrote titled When Butterflies Kiss. You can get it right now on Amazon. It is so sexy. It is really well done. And I love the concept of having different writers come in and contribute to the story. That is,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So, so she
It's like,
she
so.
walked me into that. So I got to expand upon that a little bit. So, but this is what's interesting to me. What's interesting to me is that the things that all the things I've done before the stroke, they feel different than what I've done since the stroke. You know, like the things that I've actually talked about this on the podcast last night because they were hype about the things I've done before. They're like, yeah, you published this book, When Butterflies Kiss. You got 10 different people, each one writing a different story, and making the whole soliloquy, like this whole thing. And I was like, yeah, but there's this like extra layer of of I don't know, like diffuse area,
Disconnect.
like a disconnect between me and the things that had happened before. Like I
Yeah.
know that I've done them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they are just
Maybe you're not
they're
attached.
They're a little less attached. I'm a little less attached to them.
Yeah.
And so I've talked about extensively my current book. My current book, I was like, listen, that current book is the one that I feel the most, and that's the book that I published after the stroke, but I wrote
it
before the stroke.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I found it. You guys know the story, but you know I found
they might not.
But I found the book and I read it, and I came to realize that this was me, that I had written this book, and that these things were rules that I could apply, and they're great. If he's been reading them to me on days, some of the days we work here together, to read some of that book, and
it's a part of our morning spiritual practice.
Morning practice, and I'm just like flabbergasted every time I hear it because I'm like, I wrote that. I wrote that, right? Because the words sound different, the word choice sound different. But anyway, I was telling them last night that the real book they need to get is Hack Your Pain Now. Hack Your Pain Now, because hack your pain now. And I'm going to say it nice and slow. Hack your pain now, right? So that you can really help yourself grow. Because not just for me, it's for you.
It's for your children.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes we don't have a blueprint for our children when they're experiencing pain, whether it's chronic pain, whether it's pain from a heartbreak, whether it's, they've fallen off of a bike, whatever that pain is, like pain is real, and each of us has a different interpretation. And every time I get to read the book, they're called commandments. Every time I get to read a commandment to Sekou, it enriches my life. I'm just like, wow. And then how he interweaves a playlist, because music is therapeutic.
And by the way, I don't remember being connected to music. Like we went to see MJ, and I was just sitting there watching. Like she was in the
getting it.
And I was like watching her. But I don't remember a connection to music. And so for me to have inserted a playlist, like I was really reaching for a way to connect with people.
Yeah. Music was a very, very big part of who you were. So I just wanted to share that because I think it's supremely important for people to understand why I might be kind of coaching you sometimes. Yeah. Even energy wise, just everything is different but I think also, Sekou, when you talk about not being attached to your former work, I think a lot of people can relate to that because sometimes you put it out and then you move on. For instance, I interviewed Latasha Jimerson, who's a book coach. She's written 8 books. And she said the one that people tend to be interested in the most is her first book.
Oh,
She
wow.
said, I don't even want to talk about that book. It was a great book, but because she wrote it at a time in her life where things were dark. She
Mm.
said, and I'm I'm past that. And so I like to talk about the other books that are more that resemble who I am today. So that makes sense that you would
Mm.
want to talk more about Hack Your Pain than the other books.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, when butterflies kiss, it's so beautiful, and so I love it. I have a copy.
Yeah, check it
Yeah.
out. All my books are on Amazon.com. So I think I'm up like at 5 or 6 books right now. The main one that
Mhm.
I'm promoting is 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 Hack Your Pain Now.
Yeah. See,
But
that's it happened right there.
yeah,
That was an
right.
example.
But
Mhm.
I've got all these other books that I've published as well. And also, I wanted to just point this out because this is interesting. It reminds me of what you were
Slow
saying.
down.
It reminds me of what you were saying recently. And those brothers last night asked me what I would advise, like what I would
Mm.
advise to people. And
Ooh.
before I knew it, I suggest have a stroke.
Oh my gosh, I cringed. I was
I was
like, "What
like,
did he just say?"
what?
Do you have that clip that
No,
I sent
no,
you?
I don't have a clip, but yeah, that was really deep. I mean, it just
Mhm.
jumped out of me. And I'm not telling people to go out here and have some kind of, some alternate, um, some
Mhm.
bad thing happen to them, right? I want you to live your life, right? But what I
Yeah.
was saying was that my my situation, my rejiggering everything and letting everything fall to the ground and let it settle as a grown man has really shaken everything up and shaken my life up. And I don't know how to else to explain it. Like it's shaking up everything, everything, and just letting it fall down. And so I'm letting things settle to see what I need to pursue moving forward. Because that's what the question was about. They want to know what I want to do forward. So
And what
yeah.
advice you would have for Black men run, like men who are a part of this club.
Mhm.
And I think what you were trying to say is, if you were no, I think what you were saying is, if you want to measure the character of a man, have a stroke, because in this stroke you get to see, and everyone's stroke is different. Those who have had a stroke or multiple strokes, is you really get to see what you're made of, and where your faith is.
Mhm.
I mean, like you said, starting over as a grown man who was working, creating, traveling,
Yeah. They were so impressed
right,
about
living.
who I was
Hmm.
before. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. And so I think you get to find yourself in your tragedy. You get to
Mhm.
find who you are, and you get to choose. You can either sulk and mope and write, star producing your own pity party, or you can make lemonade out of lemons. Like,
Mhm.
you get to choose.
Yeah.
And so
And I just want to say that there are a lot of days where I make lemonade. Wait a minute.
sulk.
I sulk. There are a lot of days when I sulk now. Don't get it twisted.
Oh no.
Don't get it twisted. Don't think that I'm always rah rah shiskum bah. Like there are some
Oh,
times
what was that? Rah rah who?
rah rah shiskum bah. Yeah, rah rah shiskum bah.
He's
So
definitely not.
yeah,
I am
yeah,
here as
yeah,
a witness.
yeah, for sure.
And it's challenging because I want him energetic and upbeat and happy. And so my work is to just support him wherever he is. And let me tell you, it is not easy. I said to you last week, I said, I think I need a support group
Yeah,
for loved ones, significant others who are supporting a stroke survivor,
yeah,
because there's only certain things I can share with other people, because you just don't know.
yeah,
You have no idea.
yeah.
And the thing that I don't want is for my friends and family to feel sorry for him or me and us.
Mm.
And so I know that if I keep my feelings either inside or find a support group, then those are going to be the only people who can really relate. Yeah. And so I'm on that this week because it's important for my mental and emotional health. And it also, I think, is going to give me even more strength to continue to support Sekou.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to talk about what's needed. Like, it's difficult for me to talk about what's needed because every day, every day is different.
Mm-hmm.
Every day is different.
Mm-hmm.
And like today, we got up and ran. Now that's attributed to Fee King because she's got me up. Because you all know, you even watch the show, you all know that I've been slick, I've been slacking, I've been going to sleep and doing my show and doing
Going to sleep at midnight. I was like,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
no.
So she's got me getting up and running before the show. So that's a blessing. But internally, I'm like, don't want to, don't want to. And so like this morning, I was like, had one eye open. Like, let me see if she gets up. She went back to bed. Okay, cool. Went back to bed. Well, she's tired to get up. No, all right, cool. But anyway, so that's a true life story. But what you got to realize is that I I feel a stronger valid variation from one day to the next. Like before, it was like, I don't feel like going, let's go. But now it's like I feel pain, I feel discomfort, I feel like there's a wider range of feelings that help that come. And I've got to fight past those that 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 wider range to get out there and run. And this is harder. This is harder.
Well, I
You know?
think that's the difference between being motivated and being disciplined. Like you're an
Mhm.
example of a disciplined man. And also, Sekou, if you continue to read your own book, when you wrote that book, which I'm not for sure when he wrote it,
Like the
during COVID.
pandemic during the pandemic. Yeah.
Okay. So not that long ago, is he was experiencing extreme pain then. It was a different kind of pain. It was a emotional pain. And you still got out there and did it even though you didn't want to because you were experiencing this heaviness from the dissolution of a relationship.
Mhm.
So there are variations of pain, and even if you don't want to do it, I think when you focus on your why, that helps you strengthen the discipline muscle to get out there and do it anyway. Like I'm dealing with my own physical stuff, and yet I still do it. And then I know that by me doing it is going to encourage him to do it. So I'm not saying that we're perfect because there's no such thing as perfect, especially with our situation. So here's something that we haven't shared publicly.
Okay.
Because of his stroke, his internal body temperature has shifted. He's cold a lot.
Oh my God. So let me just jump in there. Jump in there. Right side of my body is cold all the time. That's different from the left side of my body. My left side of my body may feel warmth, but my right side of my body is freezing all the time.
And yet when I hold his hand,
See,
except for right now, it is cold, but most of the time he's hot. I'm going through the change. So I'm hot all the time. Imagine, like literally, I'm looking at, there are about seven comforters, y'all, 7 comforters on the bed. And so now what we figured out, because again, I'm hot, I'm sweating, for all my sisters over 40 who are experiencing the change, menopause, yay, you fully understand where I'm going with this. We have divided the bed in half. Towards the wall is his side, where there are 6 comforters,
It's called-
and my side only a few, mainly sheets, so that I can flip off, flip on, flip off, flip off. So that works for us. But I'll be honest, when you said you wanted me here in New York, I was like nervous. I was like, oh my gosh. I said, I don't know how to manage being in a relationship with this new station, which is menopause, because it's the brain fog, it's the hot, and not just the hot, then you get really cold. So I'm hot, and then minutes later I'm freezing, and then I'm spitzing.
Right.
Well, what works, I think, for us is the exercise helps to manage all of it. It helps to manage the mental, the emotional, the physical, and it gives us space to support one another. Even if he's cold, I'll notice that he'll just put on hoodies because he knows that I'm hot. And even when I'm hot out, life is a process.
Yeah.
It is all a process.
Yeah. It's really interesting because so she'll open the window.
All night.
Yeah. So that's what we're fighting. So I have to put on the blankets. But mind you, I'm cold on one side of my body. Can you imagine?
No.
Cold on one side of my body and warm on the other. It's like so it's difficult. But I think it's been good that we've been able to develop that system.
Yes.
That system has worked well for me.
Because not only when I open the window does it bring a nice gust of cold air through, it also brings the noise of New York City. So,
now that I'm completely immune to.
That's good.
Yeah, I don't
Me,
feel that at all.
not so much. I'm getting there.
Right.
It's not only the noise, but the lights. So it's like daylight all the time.
Yeah.
And now I kind of like it. Like I'll wake up at 3 a.m. and I'll just look out the window, and the city is just so.
And Nelson
beautiful.
does it too. Her cat does that too. I'll look up in the middle of the night, and her cat will be looking outside, just looking outside at the world.
Yeah, it's really magical.
Cool. Yeah,
it's
really
magical
cool.
how you get to navigate when your life changes. And unless you're not living, everyone's life is changing in some form or fashion. It may not be a stroke, and God willing, I pray that it never is for you.
Right.
It's going to be something, though.
Yeah.
It is going to be something.
And all the same, having the book Hack Your Pain Now will help you because those 10 commandments are things that you can do. They're short. They're short. They're very short, but powerful. And it's like I didn't even write it.
And one of the things that I love about your book, and even if I didn't know you and I read the book or I happened upon the book, the one thing that really, really resonates with me, and it's the common thread throughout the book, is responsibility and accountability. Being responsible for you. Because oftentimes we'll point the finger, we'll blame other people, woe is me, and then holding yourself accountable when you don't have that friend in your ear, or you don't have that coach, you don't have that mentor. Like, you get to be your own internal hype woman or hype man and hold yourself accountable to getting yourself out of that rut. It's common throughout your book.
Ashe.
Accountability and responsibility.
Ashe. Well, that's a good ending.
Oh, good ending. Is it time?
So our time, we didn't talk about any of the things we were going to talk about, but we talked about some good things. We talked about some good things.
So. Yeah.
So remember that now is better than perfect. Now.
And
go ahead.
Proper preparation prevents poor performance.
Say it again.
Proper preparation prevents poor performance.
All right. I'll leave you with it. All right. I'll see you next week. All right.
Later.
Bye.
Bye, Sekou.
Bye.